created everything. Look what a powerful being you are. You did these things, but now you're in a human body, you forget the power you have.
What you do is what the whole universe is doing at the place you call here and now. You are something the whole universe is doing in the same way that a wave is something that the whole ocean is doing.
You're doing it.
Doing what?
Using your imagination.
Welcome to Metamystics, where you don't know what you don't know. Today, we are actually going live tonight. We typically like to go live on Wednesday nights, but we decided, hey, it's a Monday, and every day is every day anyway. There's no such thing as yesterday. There's no such thing as tomorrow. There's only the moment. So whether it's Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, it's tonight, baby, and that's what we got going on. Tonight, we have a really fun guest for the very first time, ComingOutCosmic. Welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. I'm Christine Nowinski. I've got my daughter Maya with me. Hopefully she is quiet throughout this, and I really appreciate you having me on here, Jonathan.
Yeah, really excited for this conversation. Really, anytime we can talk to somebody who can kind of like lend us a little intuitive insight, that is always so valuable because, and I feel like a lot of psychics will typically say roughly the same thing, that it is a learnable thing, and while some people are maybe born with it a little bit more so than others, it doesn't mean that, you know, somebody can't get up to a decent level intuitively, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that I teach is psychic development. So I want it to be clear, like you said, that it is something that can be learned. Everybody's got psychic abilities. Human beings are, you know, sometimes born with more psychic abilities open than others, but it's absolutely something that can be learned. So there's all different types of psychic senses that people can pop into. And so are you aware of the psychic senses that you have, or have you considered anything like that?
I believe if I was any of them, it would be claircognizant.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, because that's mainly just like the little knowings that you get. You don't even know why you know it, you just know it kind of situation. And there's sometimes where I feel really good about it, and then there's obviously sometimes you question it. But I got to tell you, the more I start to lean into like my own intuitive understanding, it's almost like building up on levels. It's almost like giving me like levels for me to accomplish, and then once I accomplish little levels, maybe I'm up onto the next chapter or something. That's just the way that it works in my mind. But yeah, it is really, really strange. The more you give into it, it's almost like the more it feeds you. Do you feel like that too?
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, so I've been leaning a lot into clairsentience, which is the psychic ability of feeling, but claircognizance, also the psychic ability of knowing without knowing why you know, is one of my strong ones too. And so sometimes I'll just get like intuitive downloads about something or someone, and then you feel the need to like express it, because sometimes it like won't actually leave your mind until you express it. So that's exactly what you're saying about leaning into it. The more you trust it, the more the universe is like, oh, okay, well, we're going to keep nudging and keep opening up these psychic abilities for you. And so that's how it's definitely worked in my case. And now my abilities have exploded to the point of being able to openly channel different higher consciousness. So I don't know if that's something that you're familiar with as well, or how else you wanted to kind of take the podcast today.
Oh, we can take it to the weirdest depths possible. Like, there is nothing that is off limits here. I noticed that you were a bit of a channeler, and I was like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. I saw that you were channeling really multiple different types of consciousnesses out there. Or is it consciousness? I don't know. But whatever multiple consciousnesses are.
Yeah. I say consciousnesses, yep.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to see that go on, and all the different types that you're connecting with too. One that really caught my attention was that you were channeling like this like a angelic collective. And
Mhm.
Yeah, and I was really curious about that, and
Sure.
only because I personally have had, and our listeners know this because I say it all the time, but I personally had like an Elohim experience a couple of years ago, and I know that Elohim, some people like to look at it like it's a singular thing. I like to look at it like it's a plural thing, and so that's the way I understand the Elohim is that it's also kind of a bit of a collective. Does the Elohim and the angelic collective, are they kind of similar? Are they the same thing? What is that to you?
Yeah, so I can't speak directly to about the Elohim because I've never actually channeled them yet, but I can say that typically when I do channel, it does come through in a collective form. So I know that there's new people here who I don't know if you guys have seen some of my videos, but a little bit of background of I guess who I am and the whole channeling process is I never wanted to freaking channel aliens. Like I am this was never never something that I ever freaking considered. I had been climbing the corporate ladder for many years. I was actually I have a top secret security clearance with the government, the Department of State, because I was meant to go and work for the Foreign Service. I was very much in the 3D reality. And then I started just really wanting to exit the matrix and not feeling aligned with that type of life and that style. And meanwhile, 2014, I started having alien contact, started waking up, started thinking, oh my God, there's so much more to life. So I share this because it kind of gives a little bit of a background of this whole channeling. Like I feel like it's important for people to know that people who do actively channel and actually post it online, it's not something that is usually what we want to do. It's just something we feel called to do. And so, because of all the different alien contact that I had, and then coupled with psychic abilities opening up through tarot, it eventually led me to channeling and opening up that ability. And so, to answer your question about collectives, yes, they do typically come in the form of a collective. But I've also channeled like individual entities today, like as well. For example, today I had a one-on-one session with a client, and a Lyran being named Helen came through, who was like a mother to her in a past life, which was odd because her mother in this lifetime is actually named Helen. So I go on a long diatribe there. Sorry, but anything
No.
you want to pick apart from that?
That is insane. And what I found, so I do past life regressions from time to
Oh,
time,
cool.
and learned it from the great Dolores Cannon, one of the best of all
Oh,
time. And
R.I.P.
RIP to a real one. But
Mhm.
what I've noticed is that some people will go into a past life as a human, and then you'll get other people who have different experiences. And sometimes those experiences are a bit extraterrestrial or not even with a body. It seems that
Yep.
sometimes they're
Mhm.
just consciousness itself of sorts. And it's so insane because you almost like you'll see the mind switch completely. Like whenever somebody is hypnotized and they're going to a past life, not only are you seeing the mind switch, you hear the voice switch, the
Oh, yeah.
tone in which these people are talking as these previous entities, previous, is I feel like it's probably a human word because we live in time, but whatever. And it's so crazy whenever that happens. And so whenever I personally experience that by hypnotizing a few people, like I think I've hypnotized somewhere between 200 and 300 people. And the first few, I think, were just kind of almost getting my feet wet a little bit. It was just like regular, what Dolores Cannon would say, like digging potatoes past lives, which are basically like you were a farmer in a past life and you didn't really have too much crazy shit going on. You know, the craziest thing that would have happened is like, I don't know, maybe a bolt of lightning struck the tree in your front yard or whatever, right? Like just something so simple. But then you start getting these past lives where people are on other planets and they're different colored beings or they live by a different tone. You know, there's just something incredibly like very different from human. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that is what got me. And then lo and behold, I end up having my own damn one where I'm something else. So I don't know. I mean, for the longest time, I thought that maybe it's just the mind going on a fun walk. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's just what happens, but I can't accept that anymore. Like there's something else going on here.
Yeah, it's like, well, especially if you're on that path of really trusting your intuition, you begin to trust the insights and everything that comes through to you, whether it's like an intuitive hit in your present day or whether it's an insight from a past life regression. I can tell you that the majority of clients, when I'm doing my one-on-one channeling sessions with them, the majority of them want to know about past lives. And so the entities that I channel can see all different perspectives, all different past lives, all different timelines from their own perspective, of course. But it's so interesting because most of the people that I attract are people who prefer not to be human. And so that's why they come to me and they resonate with me, because I channel aliens and they're like, girl, there's something else going on. I'm having a really hard time, you know, to say in the most basic way, being a human. Can we look into my past lives? And so today I had somebody, oh, this was really interesting. I had somebody who was a reptilian angelic hybrid in a past life. And she had actually seen this being come to her in a quantum healing hypnosis therapy session. And so as I was channeling, I saw that being come through as well. And I was like, this being is holding something in its hand. Like it looks like it was like, I don't know the exact word, but it looked like, for lack of a better term, it looked like a wand of some sort with like a crystal on top. And she's like, oh my God. She's like, I have to show you something. So I came out of trance. We did a little bit of a debrief and she showed me this crystal wand, but it was like a smaller version that her mom had gotten her that she put in her hair. It's like a hair clip or something. She's like, I don't know. I feel like this item is so special. And it came to me for a specific reason. And I was like, that is the exact freaking item that I saw you holding your hand in that past life. So that's to say that like these past lives are always, you know, because time is an illusion, all that stuff. It's these signs are always around us. And I had do I have it? Oh, I actually have something else. Hold on. When I had my quantum healing hypnosis therapy session, I had been taken back into a lifetime where I was a red alien. I was telling my friend about it. I was like, yeah, I was this red alien. And she's like, hold on, I have something for you. And she gives me this crystal of a red alien. And I shit you not, this is exactly what I freaking looked like.
What?
And so, yeah, it was just, it's odd. These things
what are the odds of that? That's
I know. Yeah.
Unreal. Whenever shit like that just happens, I'm sorry. If there are infinite possibilities,
yeah,
the chances that somebody would have a red-headed, is that a crystal alien?
It's a crystal, yeah, red jasper.
Red jasper. Who has red jasper alien heads just walking around? You know what I mean?
I know. Yep. And so that's why I was like, okay, well, this is a sign and validation that what I saw in my QHHT session was real, because you question it. You know, the mind is like, this is bananas. But once you start getting out of the programming of what normal society is supposed to be, there's no limit. It's just wild.
Oh, there's so much unraveling. It's like literally it's like the life you thought once was, it's like you're taking the wrap and just unraveling it the entire time like it's a mummy itself. You know, like that's kind of the way that I envision it, because the rabbit hole never seems to end. I feel like constantly on a daily basis, I'm just shocked by new things. And it's like I've grown to this point where I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to be shocked every day for the rest of my life. And I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly comfortable with that.
I know, like one time I had somebody because I started Coming Out Cosmic, which for me is speaking out openly about aliens and my alien experiences. I started Coming Out Cosmic on TikTok, actually. I just recently started posting on Instagram, and I had a TikTok follower comment one time, you know, I believe that there's a giant praying mantis entity that watches over Mexico. And I was like, you know what? I would not be shocked. Like at this point, you're just like, it's not that you will believe anything, but you will consider everything, you know?
Yeah, there's nothing that's impossible, you know?
Right.
And because look, I think that with our limited capabilities of being not necessarily being able to see the entire light spectrum or the sound spectrum and all this kind of stuff, I'm like, so we don't have everything that we need to be able to determine what this reality actually is. So whenever somebody tells me that they've had an experience or they see an alien or a demon or an angel or a ghost or something like that just manifest in front of them, I mean, chances are they're probably not bullshitting. You know, unless they're doing it for clout. I'm like, most people don't have anything to gain from a demon manifesting in front of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My dad, he saw a draconian in the physical. Have you I talk about it on socials. Did you want me to tell that story, or what
Please.
topic did you want to go into?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, the floor is yours.
Oh my gosh. So it's incredible. Okay, let me just begin. So when I again started posting on social media about aliens, your friends and family kind of look at you like, what the hell are you up to? Are you okay? So I went to my parents and I was like, so I want you guys to know that I have been contacted by aliens, and we can go into my alien experiences too. But I want to tell the Draconian story first. And so when I started telling my parents that, I'm doing this on social media, I'm really feeling cold because I feel like people need to hear other people's experiences so that they know that they're not crazy, because that's one of my missions at Coming Out Cosmic, is to allow people to also feel that they're not crazy, that this stuff is normal. People are just afraid to share what's actually happening to them. And I think that this stuff is really cool. So I naturally I like talking about this kind of stuff. So anyway, when I told my parents what I was up to on social media, I showed my dad that this book that I had. It's called the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac by Craig Campbell Basso. It's a really good one. And I was showing him the encyclopedia, and he's flipping through the pages, and he stops at a picture of a draconian, and he's like, I'm pretty sure I've seen one of these in the physical. And I was like, what do you mean you've seen a draconian in the physical? Do you know what I talk about on social media? Like, what, we have to share your story. This is insane. So my dad was working for the military, for the National Guard in the 80s. We're from Buffalo, New York, but he was in East Fishkill, New York. And it was around 2 or 3 a.m. And he was just patrolling the area. They called it, so the area itself was known to have a lot of activity, and him and his buddies used to call it oh, you're on UFO watch tonight, haha, because they all kind of secretly had experiences, but were afraid to tell each other about it. So anyway, my dad said that he was patrolling, and he noticed just off into the distance, off into the woods, this huge, he says 8 to 10 foot tall dragon being is the only way that he could say what it was, because he's never seen anything like it. He's like, what the fuck is that? And so he noticed that it was really tall, really muscular, had a tail. It had really scary beady eyes. It stunk like sewage. He actually said that it stunk like death. And he said that it was nasty. He's like, this thing could tear me apart. And he was in awe over the entire experience. He said that when he looked at it, it just kind of looked at him and then it ran away. It was bipedal on 2 feet. So it was a draconian. And so he said that off of that experience, he did not actually feel any fear. It was more so just awe. And I think that he was in shock, but he says that he always knew that he was protected. So he didn't really, he didn't get scared about it. But when he shared that story with me, I was like, oh my gosh, you've seen one of these things. I've never seen a draconian in the physical, but I've definitely been visited by one in sleep paralysis. So that's another story.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm just looking up pictures of the draconians, and is another word for them reptilian? Because that's exactly what they look like.
Yeah, so they're a little bit different. The way that I would define, oh, that's the picture. Wait, if you go to the right-hand side, and you go, okay, so it's the right-hand side, and it's the, okay, second photo from the left, all the way on the right-hand side. Am I explaining
Right
that
here?
good enough? I can't see where
Sorry,
your mouse.
it's
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you were right. It was so if you go all the way to the right-hand side and then
Uh,
you go backwards one, it's like the one single draconian staring at the photo or sorry, yeah, that one,
oh,
that
right
one.
here. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, he said that it looked like that, but it had a longer snout.
Oh my
Had a
God.
longer snout. Yeah. Um so a draconian and a reptilian would be different. The way that I would define them is the draconian would be like a higher upper echelon type species, more in control of humanity. Reptilians are kind of like boots on the ground soldiers, but of course, take it as it resonates, and there's all different types of cases. But if we were to talk about, rabbit holes and conspiracies, it really would be the draconians who are the ones in charge, but the reptilians also kind of do their bidding, and it's yeah, it's just
Wow.
different type of species, very similar.
Okay, so one of my good buddies, he's my old co-host from my other podcast that I used to do a conspiracy podcast called The Cult of Conspiracy, and he was my host, my co-host. His name's Jacob, and Christian guy, nothing wrong with that at all. But he's a Christian. He said that one of the main reasons why he's a Christian was because he knows there is no convincing him otherwise that he was visited by what he calls a demon, right? And he started describing this demon, and I lo and behold, I end up finding some pictures, and it was actually this one right here. If you can tell, this is
Yep.
the one that he was like, it's almost exactly what I saw. This right here. And it said first it started out as he was a little kid. He was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old. And he was out like kindergarten or first grade or something like that for recess outside. And he saw his grandmother sitting out on the swing, just swinging along and calling his name. Well, what happened is that he went over and talked to his grandma, and he knew in the back of his mind that his grandma was dead. Like, there's no way that he should be talking to his grandma, but he's 5 or 6 years old. What are you going to do? Right? Like, you just kind of accept things. And lo and behold, after a few recesses go by, and the grandma starts looking a little bit different and a little bit different and a little bit different until this ugly fucking thing pops up. And he said, oh my God, it stunk to high hell. It scared the absolute shit out of him. And it was just haunting him his entire life for quite a while, for like a decade or more. And then he ended up, I guess he ended up getting so scared one time that his let me see 1 second. Sorry. He ended up getting so scared one time that I guess an angel came to his rescue and basically took out this reptilian, like with a flaming bow and arrow. He saw this whole thing. He claims that he saw the whole thing. And he will tell you until he's blue in the face. He goes, no, I was not sleeping. No, I was not under, I wasn't on any medicine or anything like that. I saw what I saw. And I'm like, I don't know how to compartmentalize that up in the old dome, but I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't believe you. I mean, I believe everybody has their own experiences, and who are we to tell them that they're wrong,
Oh my God, absolutely. And the way that it's so important to also think about the fact that when somebody shares their experience, they're only sharing it from the lens of their own perspective. So I'm not surprised that with him having more of a religious background, he thought that it was a demon because he probably didn't have the words to describe it otherwise. And so that's why a lot of people are like, oh, like you didn't do this or you didn't do that, because everyone's trying to understand other people's perspectives through their own perspectives and limited vocabulary or limited lived experiences. So it's so important to just like hear out people, feel into the resonance of whether or not it feels true. It doesn't have to feel true for you, but that's like my biggest tip on discerning when people are sharing their stories. Just like feel into the emotions that they have around it. Does it feel true, et cetera? And that's typically how you can, find out if somebody's actually had some type of experience. And I've heard very similar experiences like that too. I do feel like there are many differences between demons and draconians. That's a whole lesson in itself. So,
I mean,
however,
somebody unknowingly, I mean, nobody, if you're not in this kind of community, you probably look at them like they're all demons, right?
Oh yeah, and my dad's got a super religious background also. We were both raised Catholic. He still very much believes in a lot of the Bible, but he's at the stage right now where he's questioning everything. He's like, Christine, I'm trying to take apart the Bible. He's also reading the book of Enoch, and he's like, I'm just not understanding, like things are not adding up. And so from his perspective, because it is very religious, he would call the Draconian that he saw demonic. And so it's
One
I'm
of the best threads to pull with somebody you're trying to like help see through all of the religious stuff, in my experience, is definitely pull on the Apostle Paul thread. It will get you questioning everything about the Bible. It is so insane. You start looking everything that Apostle Paul was connected to, both before, whenever he was Saul, and afterward, whenever he became Apostle Paul, anointed only by his own imagination, what it seems like. And it is unreal. I mean, literally, what everybody believes as far as Christianity goes, well, nah, I don't want to speak for everybody, but what most churches and church officials and people that go believe is the Paul story. Like most people believe what Paul said after Jesus died. Paul never even met Jesus. He met him on the road to Damascus in some kind of vision. But like it is such a crazy thread to start pulling. And once you get to pulling it, you're like, okay, Jesus was either don't crucify me for this, knock on wood, but either A, never existed, or B, was a sage. Like, that's all I got.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with either one, really. I mean, the story is awesome by itself until Paul had to come and ruin it, from my perspective.
So even though I grew up Catholic, I could smell the bullshit in a lot of programmed religion. Even as a child, I remember sitting in church thinking how, okay, well, like if I believe in this religion and there's people in that religion believing that, and people in that religion believing this certain thing, then they must all coexist. And I believed in that like coexist thing before I even knew what it meant. You know how like they have that on like cars?
The bumper sticker. I talk about it all the
Yeah.
time. Yep.
Yeah. And I just intuitively knew about that. So even as you're talking about Apostle Paul, because I never really got into religion at all, I don't even know the story that you're talking about, but I bet that my dad would. So I'm gonna plant that seed with him and see where that goes. Because
Yeah.
every other Wednesday, live on Instagram and TikTok, we do alien talks with dad. So we talk about this kind of stuff because it's interesting to see the generational perspectives.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is quite the rabbit hole. I've done an episode on it before, and man, I didn't even grow up in this. Like, I didn't grow up religious. My parents never took us to church or anything. I think we went once or twice just with some of their friends or something, but it was never a big deal. The only time God was ever even mentioned was like for Christmas and Easter and stuff like that. Like it was never a real big deal, at least in our household. And really amongst my entire family, like none of my family were very religious at all, which I think is kind of strange. Normally you got that one religious nut, you know what I mean? But in my household, there was none of them. Like there was nobody trying to convince us of any religion. And so I find that to be, a bit of a blessing in and of itself, because it's one thing to come to it on your own, and then there's another thing to be indoctrinated into something whenever your mind is still being molded. And I think that is like, for a lack of a better term, like, I don't even want to say it, but it's spiritually taken advantage of. Let's just put it at that.
Oh yeah. So then does your family like support everything that you're doing with the podcast and talking about metaphysical? Was it like pretty easy then because of
Oh
no
yeah,
re-
yeah. Nobody in my family gives me a hard time. I mean, they think that I'm a little strange, of course, but I mean,
get it.
Look, whenever you're given past life regressions, you're talking to psychics and witches and magicians, and we've had Satanists on this show just out of curiosity. Like,
Oh my God.
like I want to know why you think what you think, and I'm not here to judge anybody. I'm just genuinely curious. And I mean, yeah, you bring up a Satanist, they're might get a couple of goosebumps and a couple of hairs stand up on the back of their neck, but for the most part, I mean, it's just really an open-minded thing. And with my parents, especially, here recently, and I was just talking a little bit before we got you on here. I just joined a mystery school, which I'm really excited about. If you ever looked into the Rosicrucians,
No.
oh my
Mm-mm.
God, it's awesome. It's all so super eclectic and mystical, and it's great. But I've always kind of taken a keen interest into it because I did a show on it probably 6 or 7 months ago. Not to do that, but I kind of have to. My kids have indoctrinated me into the stupid hand thing. But we did a show on it, and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's like it includes literally everything we talk about. It is wild, right? And I told my dad, I was like, yeah, I joined the Rosicrucians. He's like, what's that? And I started telling him, and he was like, okay, that's cool. Like, nobody really cares. Like, it was like, do you, it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's so nice. My family, they support me, they make fun of me, but like I know that they support me because like they'll give me little alien gifts all the time. Like, and for like my kids, they give them little alien gifts. So, I think that you can be the butt of jokes a lot, but it's just one of the parts of awakening, I think, is actually stepping forward and being like, I believe in this. This has happened to me. I don't care what you have to say about it. And then people will eventually start respecting you for your authenticity at the very least.
Yeah. I'm weird, so you better accept it. Or actually, I don't really care if people accept it, to be honest, at this point. I'm just
No.
like, look, it is what it is. Like this is stuff that you can only look so far into something to where there's no going back. And I feel
Oh,
like there's no way anybody could convince me of most of this stuff not being real. Like it's too much.
do you recall when you first started going down the reptilian rabbit hole?
Did I recall? What do you mean?
So did you you believe in the reptilians? Yes or no?
I mean, I believe that people have had experiences. I've never personally experienced it. I'm kind of one of those people to where, I try to stay away from the what do I believe and what do I not, because I like to just kind of remain open-minded and listen to people's experiences and whatnot. Until I experience something, it's just wide open. You know what I mean? I mean, I fully believe that people are having individual experiences without a shadow of a doubt. Because I think that consciousness it is so vast and so many different things can be experienced. And especially whenever you got hundreds, if not thousands of people that are experiencing very similar things, it's like, to me, how could it not be real?
Yeah. Yeah, the reason I asked that is because that was one of the first rabbit holes that started really me getting curious as well, opening my mind about the whole consciousness thing. And so I will never forget, like when I first started learning about the reptilians to just in general. And it's like that for me, that was my there's no going back moment. Like for me, because what tends to happen in moments like this, and it doesn't have to be reptilians, it could be anything at all. But when something just seems so out of the norm, however, it rings so true for you, like you feel it in your body, you're like, you cannot deny it within the physical sensations of your body. That's when it becomes that moment of, holy cow, this stuff is real. So,
Yeah, we a while back we had this guy on, and his name is Anthony. He would only ever give us his first name, which I get it once you hear why, but he claims that he is a reptilian channeler, and he would literally
oh
tell
my
us
God.
he would tell
Wait,
us everything about it.
wait a second. Anthony, what did he tell you the reptilian that he channels?
I can't remember. It's
Oh,
been a while since then, but he's a Canadian guy, or he lives in Canada. I think he's originally from like Eastern Europe somewhere.
uh-huh.
But he was talking about, like just teaching us about what reptilians are, and people think that they're demons or they're evil. And he goes, no, they're not evil. They're not demonic. It's more of just like, they're a little aggressive, like it was kind of in that sentiment. And he believes that they're actually, it's not that they're good or bad. It's just that they exist on a different density. And so life is different for them. And the way that we would look at it is that maybe we would see that as evil, or we would see it as demonic, but it's like, is a wolf evil because it hunts a rabbit, kind of thing? And I don't know. I found it really compelling, and he was able to actually channel it on the show, and voice changes, and it sounds intimidating, and you're like, all right, well, I have a new respect for it. At least there's that.
Okay, I think I know exactly who you're talking about. Did he channel? Maybe this name will come up. Kalask.
Yes, I think that's the name of his business or something.
My God. This is so freaking weird. Okay.
Oh,
Let me
shit.
tell you something about Kalask.
It's
This
so,
I'm not shit talking. Like this is so. How long ago did you have him on?
oh God, probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay, so let me tell you. Okay. Wow. So everybody, take it as it resonates. This is all, now I'm just offering a different perspective. Okay. Yeah, reptilian channeler. Yep, that's exactly who he is and what he is. I found him on YouTube. Maybe about a couple years ago, to be honest. And I was mesmerized. I was watching because he's like a blonde guy. He speaks like, is he blonde? I don't know if you recall. He like speaks, uses great vocabulary.
Yeah, he seems like maybe he's from like Ukraine or Russia or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes. Okay. So I was watching his videos and I was mesmerized. I was like, oh my God, this guy is so cool. His vocabulary is incredible. He is so smart. I want to be like him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That is a red flag because when somebody wants to be like somebody else, they are not aligning with their true authentic self. Okay. So my opinion on him, I haven't channeled into him. I haven't channeled this as truth. And truth is, it depends on what truth resonates with you, et cetera, because we're all living very different realities. But what I found with my experience in being so mesmerized and wanting to be like him, I found that it was reptilian propaganda is the way that I call it.
Oh.
Because the reptilians want for humans to not authentically shine in their true authentic self. So anytime that we're wanting to be somebody else, we are, giving them a lot of attention or we're considering them better than us. Like this guy's energy is so be like me, be like me. And that is reptilian propaganda. And that's what the reptilians want. And I totally understand like what he's saying about like it's just different densities and reptilians, like it's neutral, it's not good or bad. I think from the highest perspective, yes, that is correct. Nothing is good, nothing is bad. It is all about your perspective. However, I just found that like his teachings are very much be like me, do as I say, because he kept talking about in his videos, humans are weak. We must respect the reptilians.
Yep,
we
yep.
must respect them. No, that is bullshit. That is bullshit. You respect yourself. You be your most authentic divine self. You don't need to respect, but it was propaganda because it was so beautifully put and mesmerizing. All right, I can go on and on and on about this. I actually have a podcast episode called Reptilian Propaganda where I talk about this guy. If you guys want to hear the whole episode, it's on the ComingOutCosmic podcast.
What are the odds? Yeah, that's so insane. And to be honest, I think he was the first ever channeler that I talked to. On any of the shows. So, I mean, you kind of take it at face value. You're like, I don't know how to even prove that he's full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what I didn't know, as they like to say. But, yeah, it's so strange whenever you see people. Here's my deal. I know that there are so many channelers out there nowadays, and I'm not one to try and pick apart who the truthful real ones are and who the real ones are not, right? How do you go about determining if somebody is truly channeling or not? Like, because that obviously there's going to be a lot of fakes out there, right?
Yes. Okay, so that's a really good question. Um, so this is the way that I see it. I feel like there's a lot of, let's say, fake psychics, mediums out there. Because that's an easier thing, I guess, to like fake and to win. Um, when it comes to fake channelers, I'm sure that there are grifters out there, people who are not actually channeling, but I think it's less likely just because it's you have to have a lot of balls to fake this shit. I mean, come on, we look freaking crazy. You know what I mean? And so, unless you really do want to like fake channeling and like make money from it and whatever the reasoning may be, I feel like it's more likely again to have like a fake psychic, reader, tarot, whatever, as opposed to channelers. But to answer your question about how can you tell if somebody's fake or not, it really depends on your own intuition and your own discernment. The truth is, I think that us human beings, as we're rising in consciousness, and not all of us are, but I would think the majority of us are, especially people here in the Zoom room with us and people listening to the podcast. The more you're rising, the more you're able to sniff out that bullshit lying frequency, because lying is a frequency. You can tap into it and know when somebody is lying. So that's the best way. It's got to be through your own intuition, to be honest.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I would say that sounds about right. And obviously, if something isn't resonating with you, whether it's true or faked, either way, I mean, the message ain't gonna get to you anyway. I
Oh,
feel
yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So you are quite the character. Let me tell you, I have been like studying your social medias and just obsessing over all the things that you're really into because it's all a lot of the same things that I'm into personally. You're an ET contactee. Can you go over exactly what that means?
Oh, sure. So for me, because I know a lot of people use different definitions and it really just depends on how that person would define it. But an ET contactee to me is somebody who's experienced ET contact and remembers it. I do believe that most people, most humans experience ET contact. They just don't remember it. Therefore, they can't call themselves an ET contactee because they wouldn't know any different. Now, for me, my ET contact started in 2014 when I lived in Guanajuato, Mexico, and it started in the form of sleep paralysis. I've had sleep paralysis since then. It hasn't stopped, but it was really almost, I'd say almost every 2 weeks or every month that I would have sleep paralysis for 10 years. And it ended up being ET contact. And the only reason I figured that out was because I ended up finding someone who is a channeler, my friend Laura. And so I found her in 2023, and she was my first exposure to ET channeling. And so I asked the entity that she was channeling, I'm like, why am I having sleep paralysis? And they were saying, oh, this is ET contact. Like, um, you have three different alien species that are trying to connect with you, and they connect with you in this way. And so that very night, when I figured out that information, I was like, all right, well, if I'm an ET contactee, because, a part of you doesn't really believe it, sleep paralysis is like, it can be rationalized with whatever you want to rationalize it with. And so,
Well, so goes the
when,
subconscious mind in general.
yeah, exactly. And so that night, I used my free will and I was like, okay, for the highest good of all involved, I invite in my ET family to come visit me. I ask for a remembered alien visitation. If I'm an ET contactee, I let it go and I went to bed. And that night, I had an insane ET visitation. I remember I was laying on my right side, looking at the wall. My eyes were open. I woke up in a sleep paralysis episode. My body was vibrating like crazy. And I feel like it was vibrating so much that I felt like I was like levitating a little bit. I saw a lime green light all around me. And I heard that zoom, zoom. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like this buzzing. I guess it'd be like the buzzing noise that, they make fun of in videos or in movies with UFOs and stuff. And I remember thinking when I woke up in that paralysis, holy shit, they're here. And that was my first visitation, Jonathan, and hasn't stopped since. Now it's just all the time.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow. And and we've talked a great length about sleep paralysis in general, and there's many different things that you can do whenever you're in sleep paralysis. And I actually learned that whenever somebody, if you get sleep paralysis, you wake up, can't move your body, but your mind is there, kind of thing, right? If you have sleep paralysis, if you can come to at least somewhat, and and you can kind of change your emotion instead of being scared, because these things exist almost on a polarity scale. Fear and love exist on the same exact scale, and you have the ability to transcend that a bit. And one thing that I learned is that is actually the easiest way to have an out of body experience, is whenever you're in sleep paralysis, because you're already almost disassociating from your body, right? Like that's the thing that freaks people out the most, is that you can't move your body, right? And so I think that's really what fucks people up. And so if whenever you get sleep paralysis, you're like, oh shit, instead of being scared, you can just be like, all right, let me try it. I want to see if I can go out of body. And I had this happen one time, and I was able to go out of my body. I went into my living room. I got back in my bed. It was a whole thing. And it's to a point where I know for a fact I went out of body. Like, my mind cannot remember every single detail of my entire apartment, right? Like, I'm seeing like wrappers on the ground, because I got a 3-year-old, and he gets a little messy from time to time. And sometimes I smoke a little too much and I forget where I leave things, but that's neither here nor there. Point is that there's certain details within the out of body experience that I had that confirmed that I was actually having it. And so ever since I did that one time, I have not had a single sleep paralysis since then. I'm like, come on, man, give me one.
Oh no. Have you tried asking for a sleep paralysis, like using your free will to ask for it?
Who do you ask for it though?
You can just, so that it's exactly how I had aliens come visit me that one night, is like, you use your free will because of the law of non-intervention. If you want to ask for benevolent beings to help you to achieve something, they can and will, but you don't always remember it. So you can ask. I invite you to ask, try it tonight. Ask for, like, if you believe in guides and stuff like that, like, hey, can you just assist me in having an out of body experience? And they may be able to help you, but I would recommend asking to remember it, because a lot of times it happens and we don't remember it. And I've also had, I've had like a couple out of body experiences, but sleep paralysis is primarily like my go-to.
So has that sleep paralysis gotten a little bit more comfortable now that you know what's going on?
Yeah, because for 10 years, when I didn't know what it was freaking terrifying. Oh my God, it was terrifying. But I like to say that it was the fear of the unknown that was perpetuating a fearful reality. And so a lot of people come to me with sleep paralysis questions, and they're like, Christine, is this ET contact? What's going on? It feels demonic, blah, blah, blah. And like, I'll tap in or I'll channel for them, and I'll confirm what the feeling is, if it is feeling more negative or more positive. But most of the time, I will say that it is a positive interaction. It's just the person's fear that is causing it to be fearful. But one way that you can determine if it is a positive or a negative sleep paralysis episode, or like a positive or negative entity visiting, would be if and when you fall into that fear mode. One could figure out or try to remember how long the episode lasts for. And if they're in a fearful state for a long time, it's usually a negative entity, because they're feeding off of that fear. And if they're in a fearful episode for only a short period of time, usually it's a benevolent being who will like come and go. Because if a benevolent being feels the fear frequency, they'll leave, because they don't want for you to be stuck in that fear frequency. So that has helped me a lot to determine who's actually visiting me.
Oh yeah, and you'll see, and not even just biblically, but so many other texts and so many other people have had these experiences where they're coming in contact with what can only be called extraterrestrial. I mean, without judging it and calling it alien, or without judging it and calling it demon, or lower level entity, just call it extraterrestrial. Most people will say that as soon as they enter into your like vision, into your manifested reality, they'll tell you, don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Yes.
There's nothing to fear. Because they know that they're giving off something to a human that has never seen this shape or this aura or this energy. And so it is pretty comforting knowing that people are having experiences with these entities, and they're being told, I get it. I get it. I look fucking weird to you. I do. So don't be scared. I promise it's okay.
I will say that one time, so there's only been 2 times where I've seen okay, how was it? It's not so much in the physical reality, because I feel like in sleep paralysis, you're almost in like a different reality or a different dimension. I haven't channeled into this exactly, but 2 sleep paralysis episodes, I've seen a physical alien. One of them was a silhouette at the end of my bed. I had asked for energetic healing because that day I had been doing a lot of different readings, and I was like, oh my God, I'm drained. Please, like, help me with my energy levels. And so I saw the silhouette of the being, and to be honest, my eyes were open, but I was squinting them because I was a little bit afraid. Like, as much as I talk about aliens and stuff, it's still a shock to the nervous system when
Oh,
they
yeah.
show up in a physical form. So I saw that one, pretty tall. That's all I can really say about it. But then another time I was in a sleep paralysis episode, but this, well, this one I'd say was more out of body experience, because I got up out of my bed and I was walking, but then there was a being that was like calling and trying to like grab me with their energy, is the only way that I can explain it. And so they were like dragging me towards it, and I turned around and I saw that it was a gray alien. It was one of the grays, which a lot of times, fun fact, they're not always gray, but they can be neutral colored or like brown colored, and
Yeah.
this one was like neutral or brown. And in this episode, I would call it, I screamed and it exploded. And so I know that this sounds nuts, because then come to find out, apparently Stranger Things has an episode about this happening, but I've never seen it. Have you watched Stranger Things?
Oh, I love Stranger Things.
So do you know about what I'm talking about? There's a part where somebody screams and an alien explodes.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably, I can't remember the exact moment, but it was probably 11. She has like these psychic powers, because it goes all the
Okay.
way back to the Philadelphia experiment and the Montauk Project, where they're basically trying to channel and harness all of these little kids' like intuitive and psychic abilities. And 11 was like the most powerful one. And so
Mhm.
she was able to essentially like channel all of her energy. And whenever she would scream, it would burst out of her, and literally things would just rip apart by her energy.
Yeah, so I can confirm that this is real. This is a real thing. Most things, if not all things that they put in TV, is actually real. And yeah, that's the
Oh my
Greys are
God.
something else, man.
Yeah, and so because you hear so many different stories, almost conflicting stories about the Greys,
Yeah.
whether they're, real individual beings, or are they like little droids that are sent here to scout for the higher up aliens? Did they go the transhumanist route, where they used to be humans and then they went transhumanist and now they're back here because they can't reproduce? You hear so many different stories. What is your experience with that?
Yeah, so what I can say is all of the above is true. I've channeled about this kind of stuff. So this actually reminds me a lot, and I'll get to the Greys in a second here. But when I had a one-on-one with somebody who was asking me a lot about Earth. And she was asking, she's like, I just don't get it. Like, is Earth flat? What about this theory versus this theory versus this theory? And she started listing out all these theories. And so I channel primarily a collective group of Lyrans. These are the lion beings. I've got a soul family. Like, they're part of my soul family. Also the Arcturians, and I channel a lot of different beings, but those are the ones that typically come through. So the Lyrans were coming through answering this lady's question about Earth. And what they were saying was all of the above is true. And they were explaining that because we create our reality with our intention, with our focus, with our thoughts and beliefs, there are parallel realities, parallel Earths out there where all of the above is true. And so this is why it's so important to tune into whether something resonates with you. Like, Does the flat earth theory resonate with you? Do you get excited about it? Is it interesting? Does this theory resonate with you? Because it's there to teach you something, to teach you some sort of a lesson. So that's why even different channeled messages, you know, like if I channel something about someone or something and somebody else channels and they get something else, it's just because the message is meant to be heard in a different way for somebody else for some other reason. So when it comes to the grays, I do believe that all the above is true, because if we think and create with our mind, why wouldn't it be true? You know?
Yeah, of course. I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit as humans, or, you know, experiencing life as a human, because the truth of the matter is that, you know, energy can't be created nor destroyed, only transferred. And so we have existed probably as humans before. We'll probably exist as humans again if we decide not to break the cycle of samsara, as the Buddhists like to say. But I think that as a consciousness, we've probably been just about fucking everything, if you really think about it. Like,
Oh my God.
you're talking about existing outside of time.
Yeah.
Like, that is what in my opinion, that is what I believe consciousness is in general, is that it can exist inside of time, but time is only an illusion anyway. But, you know, I think that if you can exist outside of time, then that means that you have the capabilities of basically, I don't know, incarnating in just about any life. Wouldn't you think?
I think we've all been a blade of grass. I'm
Facts.
just being honest. I think we've all been all these different things. Yes, absolutely. I mean, there are some people who are here on Earth right now who this is their first incarnation as human. I believe that. I think that all things are possible, of course. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, just going back, because a lot of people in my channelings will ask, like, what have I been before and how many lifetimes have I had, blah, blah, blah. And so I've had different channelings where it's come through that someone has only had 50 human incarnations, but like tens of thousands of galactic and other past lifetimes. And I've had it where somebody had like 700,000 lifetimes as human. So like it's all across the board, because it just depends.
You know, I think that people, yeah, as humans, we almost only look at our shortcomings, and we can't do this and we can't do that, and oh man, how awesome does it sound to exist as an alien or as an angel or as just a light being or what have you, right? Because it seems almost unlimited capabilities. You can fly, you're very telepathic, you can exist on other planets, you don't have to pay taxes, which is probably the best part. And you know what I mean? Like, but I think that we almost sell ourselves short, because, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of bad shit that can happen to the individual as a human, but man, what an amazing experience it is just to exist inside of time. Like, anybody that is almost like, if you've gone deep enough into the void, you realize how much of a gift it is to exist in a finite carnation, right?
God, we've won the lottery. This is another thing that came through in a channeling, where it's like there are billions of souls. This is what I believe, billions of souls who are waiting to have a physical incarnation as a human, especially right now. And so I got the chills as I said that. So chills for me is usually validation from my higher self saying, yes, like that's a good message, accurate message to share. And so that's why, like, even though I've had a lot of ET experiences and I channel aliens and all that, you know, fun stuff, I never take for granted, or at least I try not to take for granted this lifetime as a human, you know, because this is the most important experience that we can have right now. We're all here for some sort of reason, so enjoy it. I had a client who was really struggling with being a human. And the entity that I was channeling was telling her, hey, like, just so you know, like it is such a beautiful thing to be a human. Like we don't have the same experiences as aliens here in this dimension as you do as a human. Would you know that we don't even have mint chocolate ice cream? And so it was like a humorous thing. And then the client got all freaked out because she's like, how do you know? How did you know I like mint chocolate ice cream? So then I started laughing my consciousness, and then I fell out of trance. But it's true, there's different experiences that you can't have elsewhere.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that. I mean, and anybody who's ever had a past life regression, or maybe you did a psychedelic where you were able to kind of witness something beyond the veil of sorts.
Yeah.
Or, whatever, however you get there through some kind of trance state that allows you to perceive beyond the physical. It's like, it is really awesome to be able to experience life as that. And it might even sound silly for some people who, what you're like, okay, so what, you can get hypnotized and you can basically embody who you were in a past life. I'm like, it sounds crazy. Yeah, I could see, to the uninitiated ear, it sounds kind of wild, right? It almost sounds like we're making shit up. It almost sounds like pretend. But to be honest, that's exactly what all of the ancients would say, is to get back into your childlike mind anyway. And so maybe we should start getting into that imaginative wonder of what if, instead of just instantly saying, no, it's wrong, it's fake, I don't believe it, they're a grifter. And I'm starting to see that more and more.
Oh yeah, that's when we're in our highest joy too. When we're connecting with that inner child or childlike joy. Childlike love, wonder, curiosity. And that's actually one of the ways that someone can connect to their higher self, is when they're in that state. And so I would agree that that is one of the best things that we can do, is look at the world with childlike wonder. Because, oh my God, like it's unbelievable, some of the stories that I've heard, some of the shit that I've experienced myself. But thank God for it, because life would be so boring if we didn't have this.
Yeah. Thank God for the spiritual aspect. Imagine we just like all agreed that everything is material and there's nothing beyond it. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that
Well,
doesn't
even
sound
how
fun.
boring would it be if we all believed in like the same anything, right? Like anytime somebody like will comment on a video and have a different opinion or try to say this versus that, I'm always like, usually, well, most of the time I never really comment back, because it's the ego that wants to fight and to protect. And I really try my best to keep ego out of this work, because it's just unnecessary, and
It's like
it's tough.
energy vampires.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why give them that energy? But if I do comment back, it's usually something like, well, thank goodness we all have different opinions, because this world would be so boring if we all thought the same.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's like Johnny Depp said, hate is an expensive emotion. And so it's just easier to stop caring.
Oh my God. And this is that mentality has helped me a lot in this line of work, like not caring at all what people think. Actually, I read this one book called The Courage to Be Disliked, and it's a very Japanese author. I don't remember the name, but holy shit, that book changed my life. And so I think that that's a really great recommendation for anybody who is struggling with the spiritual aspect of life, wanting to talk more about it, but not feeling like free enough to do it. It's very important that I think we gain that courage now.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just wear it as a badge of honor. Somebody wants to look at me, like the concepts we talk about and the people that we talk to on here, as demonic, and they call me demonic. I'm like, yeah, I am.
Wait.
I am. I'm demonic, and you know what? I would watch what you think about moments before you fall asleep too, because that's usually how I get you. You know what I mean?
That's so
Oh
funny.
God. Yeah, it's funny to fuck with people. But I just want to get over here to the chat here for a moment for some of the live listeners. By the way, if you want to be involved in any of the live shows moving forward, like I said at the beginning, usually we have our live shows on Wednesday nights. hump day is always the best day. So typically they are Wednesday nights, usually at 9 p.m. Central. Tonight we decided to go at this is Monday, and we're going at 8, which, to be honest, I kind of like the earlier time. I might have to look a little bit more into that. But you want to be involved in any of these live shows, you want to be able to support the show in any possible way, come on over to patreon.com/metamystics. That link is down in the show notes as always. There are several different tiers. If you sign up for the Wonder Wednesday tier, that'll give you access to be able to come join us every Wednesday night for the live show. And of course, you'll be able to have access to every other video that we put out, usually a week or even more in advance, and always completely commercial free. And it's the best way to be able to support the show. So holler, come and check it out. Yeah, we'd really appreciate that big time. But let's see here. Nate said, for the past life regressions, are you able to go back to an earlier part of this current life? I've actually had people do that. And that's typically whenever I was being trained in QHHT, they say that you want to try and steer away from that. And because not always is it the current life that you're living right now. It could be an alternative of, like a different kind of timeline of what you're experiencing right now. But typically within a QHHT session, the goal is to have the person go all the way throughout the life and then through the death process. And then from the death process, you speak to the higher self, and the higher self, I mean, the past life regression is really awesome. I always say that, like, it is really cool. It is profound most of the time. But the most profound thing that happens is whenever I'm speaking to the higher self, or the thing that you are after you die and are separated from your body, because typically that's where I can ask you some of these crazy questions that maybe you didn't, on a conscious basis know the answer to, but on a subconscious, higher self, almost unattached mentality that you would have, the answers come very freely. It almost feels like you're channeling your higher self. That's really the best way I can really put it. And so typically I try to veer away from that. They do have other hypno, experts out there that can absolutely hypnotize you to yesterday or a week ago or to your childhood and stuff like that. I would say typically your past life regressionist, that's like not necessarily our general direction we like to go. So, I mean, I'm sure that there are other people who, I don't know, maybe they feel a little bit differently about that. But me personally, yeah, I want to see the weird shit that happened before this life personally, or after. It doesn't even have to be a past life. And that's what Dolores used to say. She goes, people think in such a linear way that they think that the future hasn't happened and that the past is all the way behind us and all that stuff. She goes, a lot of people experience future life regressions as well. It's just that the only way their brain can process it is if it is a past life. So, Hank the Tank said, glad you started at 9 p.m. my time so I could pop in. Yeah, like I was saying, dude, I might have to make an hour earlier. That just sounds better. Hayden said, gotta run. Glad to see you, Jonathan. And White Boy, much love, brothers. I will hit you up for a past life regression appointment ASAP. Hell yeah, Hayden. Would be awesome, dude. White Boy Wizard said, yeah, fuck that Paul guy. The Apostle Paul. Oh, shit. Couldn't agree more, actually. Pete said, wow, that type of Draco energy is hella real. Yeah, it seems very intimidating. I feel like do you think that they are purposely trying to give off that intimidating energy, or is that just who they are?
So I will tell you it's a little bit of both, because when I was visited by one in sleep paralysis, I didn't see it physically. He was not actually allowed to come near me, but he did anyway. He broke some laws or whatever is what was channeled by my friend. This was all channeled before I actually started actively channeling. And so this Draconian came and visited me in this bedroom here, actually. And the way that I had experienced it was I woke up in sleep paralysis, and I felt a huge energy in the bedroom. Like think about how you might feel a ghost around you or something. Like you feel when something's around you and it's like not physically there. Well, I felt this huge freaking energy. And so he started coming towards me. And as he started coming towards me, my whole body shivered in these incredible, like head to toe, like, ooh, like shivers. And I had never experienced anything like that in my life. And so when I was talking to my friend about it, she was saying how, yes, the Draconians, their energy is so strong that for my human physical body to have been so close in that presence of a Draconian, that's how my physical body reacted to it. So yeah, he was not very nice. He was actually checking in on me because they're not too fond of me talking out about them, because I don't do so as much as I used to now that I channel, but I used to always talk about the reptilians on my TikTok.
Draconians, I'm not talking shit. I just want to make that clear. All right. I'm trying to keep this energy peaceful up in here.
So funny. Yeah, no worries. You don't have to fear them. Most of the time, they actually fear us because of how powerful human beings truly are as creator beings.
You know, I've often thought that, and not even just about reptilians or Dracos or demons or anything like that. Because if you really think about it and almost like flip it, you don't see us trying to scare the shit out of them. You know what I mean? It's like they're the ones that are trying to scare us because maybe we're valuable or our energy is valuable to them, or maybe we have the manifesting powers, something that they're trying to absorb. I don't know, but it seems to me that whenever you're trying to scare something, you're scaring them so that you can take something from them. And if they're trying to take something from you, in my eyes, that seems to me like they lack the thing that we have. Do you know what I mean? Like just kind of reverse engineering the whole thing.
It's called Loosh, Loosh, by the way, what they're most of the time what they're taking from us when we are in that fear frequency. It's a form of energy. Have you ever seen Monsters Inc?
Of course.
Okay, do you know so this has been online as well. So maybe you've seen videos about this, but like the whole concept of like the monsters taking away the children's screams as a source of energy.
Essentially adrenochrome.
Yes, yes. And it could just be a fear frequency energy exchange as well, such as Loosh. But that's what they're trying to take from us, you know? So you're right. It's because we have something that they want. And when we fully realize this, then they become powerless.
Right. And so if you're able, I mean, I'm sure it's much easier said than done, but if you feel like you have a dark presence around you, call it a demon, whatever it is, a jinn, if you feel like you have somewhat of a dark presence around you, would it almost be beneficial to say that, like, I don't know, like, I'm more powerful than you, so fuck off? I mean, I'm sure it's not that easy, but like maybe some kind of sense of that.
You can, but if you're saying that from a place of anger, you might actually be feeding it more.
Oh.
So my recommendation for dealing with dark entities is actually, and this is hard, but it can be done with practice. Instead of trying to, I mean, you can say whatever feels good and resonates with you in that moment. And you can, say, I'm powerful, F off. But what seems to work most in my case is when you're actually throwing love at it, and you're like, so this is the way that I did it, because it's very hard. You can't just go up to a dark entity and be like, I love you, and fully mean it, because you have to mean it and feel it for it to actually work and be powerful against it. But what I've done in the past is I was falling asleep the other night. I was in that in-between state. I wasn't in sleep paralysis, just about to fall asleep. And I felt a dark entity come into the room. And so I like intuitively asked my guides, I'm like, okay, who is this? And the word reptilian came to me. I was like, of course it's a fucking reptilian, because they always come near me. And so I started singing in my mind, "We are family." And so when you sing, first of all, it's a higher frequency. They don't like that shit. They don't like that shit. And I started actually genuinely meaning the lyrics to that song as I was singing it, because then I started seeing it from the perspective of we are one, we all come from source. I do believe that all things, all souls, aliens, humans, whatever, we all have sparked from somewhere. So if you subscribe to that concept of we are one, then the song really did work. And the entity ran. I literally heard his footsteps walking backwards, and then he didn't bother me. It was great.
Wow. So let me ask you this. I often wake up and it's like there's a song that's playing in my mind. For example, it happened just this morning. I was talking to my wife about it. There was this song, and everybody's heard it. I swear I haven't heard this song in at least 10, 15 years. It's a song by Shaggy called Mr. Bombastic. And I don't even know why I thought of this. I haven't seen it on a video. It didn't pop up as an ad. It wasn't a commercial. I definitely wouldn't have like hit play on it in Spotify or anything like that. It's just not my flavor anymore. But you know, I've heard that whenever people have those kind of experiences, usually maybe there's something within the lyrics that's almost like a message from your higher self or message from the other side of sorts. But to take that to even a weirder point, what if that whenever you wake up with that song in your mind, kind of going off of what you were just talking about, is that's almost like some kind of repellent that you're almost like protecting yourself with?
Oh, yeah. When you put it that way, absolutely. Wow.
I mean, because I literally like just about every morning I wake up with a new song that I haven't heard in ages, and I'm like, I don't even know how that got there.
Oh my God, that is so funny. So when that happens, how do you feel?
Well, this morning in particular, you know, it depends on the song vibe, I think. You know, because you're almost like resonating at the frequency of the song, and you know, it's a bit of an upper kind of song, Mr. Bombastic, they call me fantastic. Like, you know, how you gonna get in a bad mood when that song's on, kind of deal. And so typically, whenever it's kind of high vibe, I feel pretty good. Like I wake up, I'm like, I don't even need 2 cups of coffee to wake up entirely. You know, I'm like, I'm already kind of there. And so I looked it up this morning and I was trying to figure out like, what is the subliminal message that I'm almost like feeding myself or that I'm receiving from somewhere? Like, what is that message? And it said basically that whenever a song comes on of that nature, like upbeat and uplifting, it's almost trying to inspire confidence in you for the rest of the day. And I'm like, all right. I mean, hey, I'll take a little bit more of that.
I'm laughing because so we started off this podcast talking about like psychic abilities, right? And so one of the abilities that I have, everybody has these, by the way, you just need to tap into them and train them. And so one of the abilities that I have is clairaudience, which is the psychic ability of hearing. And so as you're talking about the song, I could hear your guides saying, well, we're just preparing him for his day, and they're like laughing about it. And so that's what I got. It very much is exactly what your intuition already called for, is that it's just giving you confidence for the day. Yeah.
Wow, I tell you what, I really needed it too because I got some off the books type shit that's going on in my life that, you know, kind of got me stumbling around a little bit. I mean, everybody has their own thing, but man, there's some things that you're just like, oh, I don't know, and maybe you're reaching out to the gods and in hopes that they'll help guide you, or reaching out to your guides and hoping that, you know, they're kind of helping you on the other side. And so to receive that message, it did inspire a little bit of confidence. Maybe I wasn't exactly wearing it on my sleeve, the whole confidence thing, but internally there was almost like this knowing that like, today's going to be all right. And it actually ended up turning out to be all right. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
really
my gosh.
strange.
That's funny. Yeah, sometimes when I fall asleep at night, I don't know if other people resonate with this, but when I enter that in between state, I can hear so many conversations going on around me, and it's all different types of people, all different types of voices. Have you experienced that?
I think maybe I have. I get this thing where just about every night, right before I'm about to fall asleep, I start dreaming before I'm asleep.
Oh yeah,
And
okay.
and like it's so strange because I know that I'm right here laying in my bed. It's not like as soon as you fall asleep and you're in a dream and you're not questioning reality, you're just kind of accepting the nature of your dream, right? But there's a lot of nights that I fall asleep and I'm dreaming while I know that I'm awake, because it's almost like I'm dreaming and I'm thinking of something else. It's like multiple things are going on. So I don't know if that would be considered hearing other voices, because usually the person in the dream, maybe it's through, you know, your lens, but it most of the time it's not you, like the body that you wear, you know, whenever you go into a
Yeah.
dream.
I know, I actually I know exactly what you're talking about, because that happened with me actually today because I had my daughter kind of laying next to me in bed today, and so I was thinking, yes, like about her, but I was also dreaming at the same time, so I know exactly what you're talking about. With the voices that I'll hear right before I fall asleep, it's different because I'm not like, it's almost like I'm in a space of darkness. I don't see anything. I only like hear different conversations. It's almost like I'm just like picking up on people and I don't know, in like a different dimension, just talking, and I'm just like tapping in. So it's a little bit different. But I mean, very similar.
Yeah, yeah, man, that is I think that a lot of these things can be, kind of sculpted and harnessed a little bit more and through there are uh, I don't know, like a wide variety of things that you can sculpt these abilities with in my own personal experience. And I feel like the best way to really sculpt it is personally is meditation. Like meditation, it seems to me that is the most spiritual thing that one can do personally. Like interactively spiritual, you know?
Yeah. Do you ever like move when you're meditating? Like, have you noticed that yet?
Like my body move?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
So this, I'm bringing this up because I feel like a lot of people are starting to tap into it in this way. And so it may start actually happening for you as well. So when I would meditate, like obviously you sit there and like, you're meditating, nothing else really is going on. But eventually I came to a point as I was developing my intuition, psychic abilities, et cetera, because it seems like, yes, you're on that path as well. I would start like it would be subtle movements. Like I would just be so in tune with the energy that I was tapping into that like my head would start moving a little bit. And then like my body, I'd start swaying. And that eventually turned into channeling. You can channel in different ways, but eventually turned into voice channeling. So I'm just warning you that if you start moving in meditation, you're tapping into some really cool stuff.
Oh my God. Yes. Now that I think of that, yes. Like especially once you're like deep in meditation. Obviously, maybe it won't happen in the first 5 minutes or something like that. Not in my experience, but whenever I'm deep into a meditation, and obviously it's going to depend on what frequency and what if you're listening to something or whatever. But yeah, I do get this sense of like whenever I'm in deep meditation, I'll start like rocking like this. And I
Yeah.
start to
Yeah.
wonder like, am I actually rocking like that? And so I might get a little curious and open my eyes, but I usually won't because I feel like as soon as I open my eyes, I'm like breaking the spell almost. But it does feel like there's some kind of twirly, like vortex motion that is subtly going on.
Oh, yes. Yes. It's the energy, like you're tapping into the higher dimensions. And so what happens, because this happens to me when I'm channeling. And so like right now I'm moving around because I'm rocking my baby. But when I channel, I do actually move around a lot like this. My head moves around a lot. And that is because it's the 3D physical body trying to sustain the high frequencies of either the meditation or the entity that's coming through. Eventually you learn to control it, but the body has to get to a place where it can sustain the high frequencies, and that also takes practice, just like any psychic ability. So, yeah, one day if you start randomly, sporadically channeling, let me know because I can help you through it because that's what happened to me.
Hey, you know what? I'm just gonna have to let this freak flag fly and just let it
Exactly.
happen. Because I'm sure it seems pretty weird doing it for the first couple of times, right? Like trying to channel because maybe you're like, all right, what am I doing? Am I making this up? I'm sure that there's something within you that's like, am I fucking going crazy or is this real? Right?
Yeah. Well, for me, it all started like spontaneously on my podcast. I had started working with a spiritual mentor named Rebecca Videnoff, and she's a channeler. She's been channeling for many years. So I started working with her, and sometimes I do believe that when we meet certain people, we're able to unlock abilities within other people as well. And so I truthfully believe that she helped to unlock this channeling ability within me. And so when I was filming a podcast one day, I just had this urge, like it was an energetic tug on my mouth. And it was this urge to like go into meditation and start speaking. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna go with this. And I lay it out all in my podcast actually. The very moment I started channeling is recorded, which is actually pretty cool. And so the whole podcast episode was about discernment and recognizing whether something's more positive or negative. But then when I went into a meditation and I was just allowing for whatever message to come through, the message that came through, I knew it did not come from me because it was really profound and I would have never thought to deliver it in that way. And so for me, that's when it clicked. I was like, oh my God, I did actually just freaking channel something or someone. And so because I'm working with a spiritual mentor, and that is definitely something that I would recommend for anybody who's considering channeling, because it can get pretty dangerous. There's a lot of things out there. But when I was working with Rebecca, she was saying, oh yeah, like you're channeling, this is it. And so ever since then, you just keep going and you just keep getting better at it.
Oh, yeah. And of course, just like anything else, it's going to take a little bit of practice and a little bit getting familiar with and getting comfortable with because I mean, it's just like anything else. Whenever you're obviously, if you've never stepped foot in the gym, you're probably not going to be able to bench, 3 plates. Like it's just probably not going to work out for you. And same thing with riding a bike and everything else. So yeah, I could see it's something that needs to be harnessed. And the same thing really goes for tarot reading too. Is that something that you ever get into? Is tarot?
Oh my God, tarot was my gateway drug.
Yes.
So I started off as a tarot reader. Well, I started off into crystals first, and then crystals turned into tarot, and tarot turned into freaking aliens. But no, I did a certification program called the Biddy Tarot certification program. I highly recommend it for anybody getting into tarot. And then I decided to really try it out professionally. So I teach tarot locally. And that really helped me to hone in on my psychic abilities, trusting in intuition, trusting messages, which has amplified my channeling and trust when I do that.
Oh yeah, yeah. So typically, every single show at the end of the show, what we like to do is do a tarot pull, just a 1 card pull, and
Fun.
usually it'll encompass somehow, some way, with some aspect of the show, and that's usually like it's kind of like our confirmation that anytime we can get like some kind of confirmation through the tarot, it's like, all right, well, that is confirmation that what was said during the episode must have resonated, right? And it's almost like the spirits or the guides on the other side are almost like shaking their head in agreement. That's kind of the way that I interpret it.
I love it. I feel like it's going to be a major arcana card. Maybe even something with judgment. It's tarot, right? Not oracle.
Yeah, tarot, regular
Okay,
tarot.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I feel like these are really big themes. So that's what I'm feeling.
All
We'll
right.
see.
So let's see. We'll get to that here in just a minute. I want to shuffle these bad boys up. But Nate said, how do you get in contact with your higher self and or spirit guides? That's a good question.
Oh, that's a really good question. So the first way, because actually, what I would recommend is getting in contact with the higher self before even starting alien contact. So that is the way to go to begin with. So it really does start with intention setting and being aware of your surroundings. So one of the ways that I was able to really connect with my higher self was by intending to connect with my higher self and then asking for signs and synchronicities from my higher self that it's around.
Hold on one
Because
second. I do not mean to cut you off. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. We got
what is it?
the judgment card.
I fucking told you. I fucking
What
told
the
you.
fuck is
I'm good at what
happening?
I do.
Oh my God. You Babe Ruth that. You just
I
like you pointed to the yard and you were like, I'm going home, and this card comes right out. What? I mean,
I told the guides, I was like, show us the judgment card. That's so
holy
funny.
shit, that's
Well, you know why?
crazy.
Because the judgment card is all about spiritual awakening. And so what before you pulled the tarot, I saw that card in my mind first. That's how I channel. I see things in my mind first, and then the messages come through me. That's wild.
Okay, that's the confirmation that you're absolutely a real one. And not that I needed it, but for everybody else that might be listening, my God, that's mind blowing. Like,
That's really funny.
because usually we'll get people that try and, call it out. And usually it's similar, maybe they'll say, oh yeah, it's going to be a priestess or it's going to be a queen of whatever. Right. And usually it's somewhat close. Not like this. I've never seen that happen. So my God. So what do you think that really means as far as all this goes? Like it is the spiritual awakening card you said?
Yes, and also, I'll explain that in in 1 second because I feel like my ego is stepping forward here and saying, if you would like to book a service with me,
Please go ahead. Yeah.
Coming Out Cosmic on all social media platforms. I'm booking one-on-one sessions into June right now because my calendar actually can't book past 80 days. So June actually just opened up. But anyway, yeah, so the Judgment card, major arcana, major themes. We're going through a major awakening as humanity rises in consciousness right now. That's why I was feeling that. And so awakening, or I'm sorry, the Judgment card for me literally means awakening. It's just this waking up to newer consciousness.
Wow. And yeah, you can see, at least on the traditional Rider-Waite picture, you can see like an angel playing a trumpet up above, and all of these people that are standing down, almost receiving the trumpet playing from the angel, almost like a divine blessing of sorts.
Yeah.
Which actually plays into my original question about the Elohim. Like,
Oh,
remember, yeah, we were talking about the collective, and I was like, is it kind of like the Elohim? Because whenever I had that experience, the Elohim, you know, I could hear it, like it was audible or clairaudient, but it was in the voice of a trumpet. If a trumpet could talk, that's what it was speaking to me as.
Oh my
And so it's
God.
just crazy that you got a little angel playing the trumpet to all these people that are like willingly receiving it.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awakening. You know, you just take what resonates, and we give and we receive. And that's why I'm so thankful to have been brought on this podcast today and be able to connect with you guys. And thank you all for being so open about different messages, stories, etc. Because this has been really fun for me. And if you ever want to do another one where I actively channel, because I would, but I can't with Maya.
You got your little baby
right now. But if you and your audience would be open and open to channeling, we can absolutely tap into your past lives or anything that you would think would be interesting.
Yes, absolutely. We're definitely having you back on, especially after the confirmation right there. I can't let that pass up. Just out of curiosity, you said your baby's name is Maya?
Yeah.
Did you go into that willingly knowing that it means illusion?
So it's funny because yes, like I did look into the meaning of the name, and I kind of liked illusion because for me it's like the breaking of an illusion as well. But I was also receiving a ton of signs and synchronicities before she was born of the name Maya. Like I went to the hospital like a week before she was born just like for a checkup, and I saw a little doodle from a little kid. It was like a piece of artwork from an elementary school, and the doodle had her name on it, and her name was Maya. So like for me, it was just very synchronistic why I chose the name.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's very interesting. And my wife is gonna be pissed if I don't ask this. But being that she is, and I don't even know, feel free to just tell me no that you've never done this. Have you ever been able to tell somebody what they're gonna be having as a baby before they know?
Yes, but I will warn you, the sex can change. Now, this sounds absolutely insane, but we're talking about things that are insane here, right? So I will tell you, and again, I've got an episode on this, and I don't mean to be claiming about listen to my podcast on your podcast,
Please
but
do.
seriously, if anybody's interested in the story, it's a long ass story. My son was physically female in the womb. There's a whole background to this, sonograms, different psychics, different, all of this shit. I felt intuitively it was a girl. When he came out, I was in shock that it was a boy. Turns out that it was a last minute switch. And you will hear this, you will hear stories that this, you know, it was supposed to be a boy. The sonogram said boy and it came out a girl. And so like they can actually change their physical sex, you know, take it as it resonates. But I do believe it happened to my son. And so that's why sometimes predictions, they're fun, but it's ultimately up to the soul what they decide last minute, and they can change last minute. But for your wife, do you want me to tell you what I think it is?
Sure.
I think it may be a girl.
Oh, she's gonna be stoked about that. All right.
You'll have to let me know.
That's what she's hoping. She's only like I think right at 8 weeks or 8 weeks in a couple of days or something like that. But yeah, we so I have a daughter from a previous relationship, and she's 14. But you know, my wife wasn't around to see her grow up into this young woman now, right? I mean, she came along. I think my daughter was 9. And so but we have a baby son together. He's 3 years old. And so she's like, man, I just want to be able to experience a baby girl. Like, just let us have that. She wants to, put little bows and little, dresses and stuff like that, which I'm like, yo, I got one of each. I love them both like equally. I don't have a preference if it's a boy or a girl. Entirely different relationships with your kids. I love it both ways, really. But yeah, I'm sure she's going to be really ecstatic about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Congrats. You'll have to let me know. That's so
Definitely
exciting.
will. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe there will be a switcheroo, but hopefully we can,
Hopefully not.
just keep it
Yeah.
there. Well, look, thank you so much, Christine, for coming over here. This was an absolute blast, and definitely look forward to having more conversations with you in the future. If anybody wants to be able to find you, all your work, or reach out to you, how exactly would they go about doing that?
Thank you so much, Jonathan. My socials everywhere, my website, it's all Coming Out Cosmic. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, website. Yes. So I'm Coming Out Cosmic.
All right, that was awesome. Well, look, this was an absolute mind-blowing episode, and this is why we do it. This is it, whenever you think that you're weird or you think you might be going crazy, just know that there are plenty of other people out there who are also having a very similar experience. And we have questions and we have experiences and we have, downloads or whatever the case may be. Just know that you're not alone, that this is definitely a podcast where it's all welcome. I mean, there is nothing that's not welcome whenever it gets into the spiritual craziness. This is what this is all about. But look, if Christine of Coming Out Cosmic came here and she taught you anything, it's that you don't know what you don't know. So don't just get weird, stay weird.